Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Bukowski household. I want to thank my wife again for filming. So we are talking about sound, which are waves created by the vibration of matter. Now, there's two key words in this particular sentence. One, the vibration is very important because obviously the particles that the sound wave is moving through has to vibrate. So something creates the vibration, like my vocal cords actually moving, which creates the air particles around it to move, which creates sound coming out. So those vibration is very important. Matter is the other key important thing. Matter basically, or medium sometimes it's called, basically is the material that the sound wave is moving through. Sound waves are mechanical waves. They will not move without an actual medium. So sound waves must have some kind of matter to move through, or some kind of medium. So they can move through air, they can move through water, they can move through wood, they can move through a lot of different things, but without a medium or matter, they will not move at all. So in fact, if you were in space and you were able to take off your helmet theoretically without your head swelling and popping because of the pressure difference, and you screamed for some reason, nobody would ever hear you scream because sound does not travel through space because there is no medium. So those are mechanical waves. Now, you have waves that are electromagnetic waves, such as light or radio waves, and we'll talk about that another time. So now, leads me into the way sound waves work. They are longitudinal waves, okay, sometimes known as compression waves or pressure waves or displacement waves, because what they're doing is they are creating areas of compression and rarefaction, or different areas of high pressure and low pressure, or they're simply displacing or moving the particles of the medium, as we spoke before, whether it's air or water or wood or whatever the case may be. It's moving those particles back and forth as it's traveling through it, okay? So a couple other things we are going to talk about today actually are sound reflection versus sound absorption. So if you're in a particular environment and there's a lot of reflective material, you're going to hear a lot of echoes and things of that nature. Okay? If you are in an area there's a lot of sound absorption, it's going to absorb a lot of the sound and you're not going to hear that interference patterns and things of that nature. So the last thing we're going to talk about today is actually the pitch, which is, we talked about that when we actually talked about the Doppler effect. And pitch really is how frequency relates to sound waves. If you have higher frequency, which is a lot of waves in a small area, or very short waves, you have high frequency or high pitch. If you have basically longer waves, you'll have lower pitch. So on that note, we are going to basically move to another area of the house. And so I will see you there. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I am now in the room in the house where most people, for whatever reason, like to sing. As you may have guessed, we are in the bathroom. Now, you can already starting to hear some echoes as I talk compared to when I was in the kitchen. Now, I'm going to have my wife come towards me, and I'm going to go into actually a little bit deeper into the bathroom where the surfaces are even more reflective. So come on forward. All right, so I'm going to slide back, and even as I slide back, you can start to hear my voice echo even more, okay? And you can see now I have the reflective surface of the tiles. These are not very porous at all. Okay, the glass is not very porous, so sound is bouncing off of it in all different directions, and it's getting louder and lower, and it's interfering, and you're creating all these weird interference patterns. So now what you also hear is you hear a lot of echoes. I'm going to play a song for you now, guys, in 4 different places, okay? Now, basically, I'm going to start here. This is a very reflective environment, and the song I'm going to do is going to be exactly the same in every situation. I'm going to do the song, Oh, When the Saints. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I'm going to sing a quick little bar. It goes like this. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, I want to be in that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Okay, so it's a pretty song. It's a song that's been around for a long time. It's a pretty famous song. So I'm going to play that because I don't want to change anything, but I want you to hear the difference of how the sound comes out. Not so much the pitch, but just how the reflective surfaces compared in different areas that we're going to be compared to each other. So here we go. Ready? All right, so you can hear, guys, there was some echo after it. There's still a lot of echo going on. So we are now going to move actually outside. So here we go. Okay, so through the magic of editing, guys, we are now outside. And when we were in the bathroom, there was all kinds of reflective surfaces which caused the sound to actually get even louder. So now I'm going to play the same song, Oh, When the Saints, and you can hear the difference will actually be lower, or the sound will actually be lower, because all of these sound waves are now dissipating out into the air, and they're not really bouncing off much. Now, you do have the fence, and you do have the house kind of around me and the barbecue island behind me, but certainly not like it was in the bathroom. So again, here it is right here. Oops. going to head to another part of the house, and I will see you there. See you guys. Hey guys, how you doing? So welcome to Fishbowl Studios. So this room is very different than any other room in my house. We were in the kitchen. You've seen the hallway from another video. We were in the bathroom, and now we are actually in a sound studio. So the reason why this room is very different, and you can even hear my voice, there's no echoes or anything, there's nothing bouncing off, there's no interference patterns. First of all, we have sound tiles up here. These are some of your typical sound tiles that you would find in a school or an environment where you want it to be quiet. These are also sound tiles on the wall itself. Okay, the wood that I use is specifically cedar wood, which is a very porous wood which absorbs sound. Again, because I don't want sound bouncing off. I don't want it to make it difficult for basically when musicians are playing. We don't want echoes and things of that nature that's going to affect the music. If you look over here, I've taken basically the front door and I covered it with a bunch of sound absorbing foam. Over here, this is what's called a bass trap. You generally put these in the corner, and these absorb some of the deeper sounds. Okay, we have curtains that are very thick, which absorb sound, and even behind the curtains, we actually have some more foam. So this room is simply designed to record clean sounds. We don't want interference. We don't really want a live sound here. This is more of a studio sound, a very clean sound. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to play the same song. And I want you to think about how different it was compared to when it was echoing and bouncing off of the tiles and the glass in the room compared to what you hear in here. And away we go. Now, I played a little bit different at the end there, but you could still hear, though, it was very clean. You could hear specifically the notes I was playing. You could hear the harmonica very well. There was no interference from anything else because this room is designed. So I'm glad you had a chance to see the studio and hear the difference between some of the different things. So we're going to actually do one more stop, guys. We've already been in the bathroom. We've already been outside. We've been in the studio. Now we're going to use the time machine, and we're going to fast forward in time, and we're going to see what it's like when we're outside at nighttime. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are back outside a few hours later. Just to recap, we started in the bathroom. We had a lot of reflective surfaces, so you had a lot of echo, and it kind of got loud. We came outside earlier today, and we actually played, and you could hear the open air allowed the sound to kind of dissipate more and actually spread out, so it wasn't as loud. We went into the studio, and even though that was indoors, all of that sound equipment, or the way it was built, the design, the sound traps, the tiles, things of that nature, absorbed a lot of that sound. And now we're back outside. I want you to hear, actually, interestingly enough, even though we're back outside and we're in the same spot, just the fact that it's at nighttime, the atmosphere lowers and compresses a little bit, which allows sound waves to travel a little bit faster through the medium itself. And the fact that there is no background noise, or very little background noise at night compared to the day, it actually does sound even louder at night. So here we go. You ready? Same song, Oh When the Saints. Guys, let's head back inside. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the little musical tour that we just did. I played the same song, Oh When the Saints, 4 times in different areas. The first time was in the bathroom with very high reflective sounds, and that was kind of the loudest you heard it for the night for the most part, in terms of basically echo and the way the sound bounced off each other and things of that nature and amplified the sound. Okay. We then went outside, and because of open air, the sound dissipated. We then came into the studio, and because of all the sound absorptive materials, it was a very clean sound, and one of the quietest ones. And then we finished up outside again later on at night, because again, I wanted you to understand that sound is a mechanical wave, and if you have an atmosphere that is more compressed like it is at night, sound will travel further and faster and actually appear louder, which is why when you're camping at night, you hear that crack of the stick a mile away and you think someone's coming to get you, but it's quite a long ways away. So I'm going to finish up tonight, guys, with pitch. Okay, now as we talked about, frequency relates directly to pitch. Frequency is how many wavelengths you have, or the shorter wavelengths create high pitch, the longer wavelengths create low pitch. So on the harmonica itself, you could see there are 10 different holes. Each one is designed to actually have a different pitch, okay? And I'm gonna play the holes for you one at a time, backwards and forward, so you can actually hear the pitch. Okay, now you can certainly hear that as I went from hole number 1 to hole number 10, the pitch was lower to higher. I'm gonna actually give you a visual as to why. Now, these are called plates. And if you take these plates off, inside what you have is a reed. I took the plates off. If you look down, guys, and the camera's panning down, you could see there are 10 different reeds in here. And you could see one that's very short, and it gets longer and longer and longer and longer until we get to the longest one at the very end. And you could pretty much begin to guess the longer it is, the longer wavelength, so the lower the pitch that will be. So honestly, if I lined it up correctly the way you actually heard it earlier, it would actually be like this. Because hole number 1 had the lowest note. Hole number 2 was a little bit higher and all the way into the highest pitch note. And you can see the reeds are actually designed. This side's a little bit easier to see, but the reeds are actually a little bit longer, or they're longer and shorter depending on where they are. So you have the shortest reed, which is the highest pitch note, and you have the longest reed, which is the lowest pitch note. So that gives you a visual of why these notes are actually higher or lower pitch. It's set up specifically so when I blow and I create that vibration in every one of these holes, remember sound is just a vibration, I create that vibration in each one of these little reeds, they will vibrate at different frequencies based on the length of each one, allowing longer or shorter wavelengths. Now, this is a cool little instrument called a pan flute. So I'm gonna also have my wife look down at this one, and you can see that you have a very short reed, and then you have a longer one, and a longer one, and a longer one, and so on and so forth until you get the longest one. Now, this is a very small pan flute, so every note is going to be relatively high pitched because you don't have really long wavelengths, but you still can hear the difference. High pitch, lower pitch. And then you can have some fun. And I can go on like that all night. So again, now you can see how the wavelength in instruments are actually affected. Each reed is a little bit longer or shorter, like in the harmonica, and now that provides different frequencies and therefore different pitches. On that note, I'm going to end. I hope you enjoyed this musical, wonderful journey that we took, and this is going to lead us right into the next chapter. So I will see you in about a week. You all have yourselves a lovely evening, and thank you so much for indulging me in my goofiness. Take care. Bye-bye.